Hey guys! Let's see how to set this up. It's been so long. I'm starting this a little early just so we can make sure we get a good view of things. Oh, that's YouTube TV. Okay. Now, hopefully, can you guys hear me okay? Araceli, hello? Did I pronounce that right? This is my only issue, is that the names I want to pronounce correctly. Amy, hello. Alejandra, hello. From Chile. Ruby, hi. I'm so excited you're off today too. This is awesome. Rasna, hello. So good to see you. I love seeing your name pop up. Sabrina, hi. Nubia, hello from Miami, Florida. So that sounds really nice right now. People keep saying here in Anchorage, they're like, oh, it's spring, and there's still snow all over the ground and it's like 30 degrees. So that's not spring to me. Jean, hello. From beautiful California. Is it cold there too, Amy? Amy lives in a frozen area as well. 24. Yeah, let me see what mine is. You are colder. I'm 28 degrees. I wish that was my age. I'm 28 years old. Okay. So some of you guys got the recipes and everything beforehand. If you had signed up for that VIP ticket that I had on my website, this is the first time I'm offering it. So what that entailed was just the recipe and some, what do we call them? Templates. And I'll show you what the templates I had sent out. Hello, Selena, Genoa, Wasilla, Alaska. Oh, you're from Wasilla? I love it. I know, I'm trying to get used to this, right? It's a different way of thinking. I just have to, I think it's mainly a mental thing that I'm just needing to reframe in my head of like, this is what the melting is spring, I guess, maybe. Like, these things are good. I need to get my tires, my snow tires off my car. Yes, of course. I'll share the recipe on here as well. 40 years in Alaska. I am so impressed. I'm really hoping we can make it here too for a long time. Like, we really love it here. I just need to get used to the cold. I will definitely share the recipe. Oh, don't worry about it, Amy. You have the recipe at least. You have the, so we're doing the recipe from my ebook, a full recipe, which is 100 grams of egg whites, 90 grams of sugar, 3 to 4 grams of egg white powder, and 130 grams of both confectioner sugar and almond flour. So what I was saying was the VIP thing was just, you know, so you could prepare everything in advance if you wanted to actually bake along with me. And if you're not baking along with me, then just enjoy the chat and everybody's awesome commentary throughout the process. I feel like everyone asks great questions, or they have an amazing experience with something that is valuable to everyone to hear. So, okay. Margaret, hello. Celine, hi. Claudia, it's so good to see you. Baking along, awesome. Marcy, hello. Good to see you again, Marcy. All right. Wow, 4 double batches so far. Oh, Amy, awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. Phoenix is 79. Oh, let's go to Phoenix, y'all. Let's get some Phoenix down. Okay, so I shared the recipe. Now what we're doing is we're making spring templates, right? So through this live, I will be showcasing how to make our meringue. And then we're also gonna be splitting our batter and doing yellow and white so that we can make some bumblebees and some bunnies and some chicks. So the bumblebees aren't as springy, I think, for some, but the chicks and bunnies, very Easter and very prominent right now on social media. So that'll be fun. Oh, these gloves. So I just got these gloves in the mail from Lannon Gloves. And instead of hot mitts, they're silicone, and they're supposedly really good for the taking things out of the oven and for cold things. So I don't know, sometimes I freeze my croissants on aluminum metal, like an aluminum sheet tray, and I put them in my, and then when you take them out, and I keep them in my garage in my chest freezer, they burn your fingers. So like you could also use these for cold as well. So Lannon Gloves, I'm gonna try them out for the first time today. I'll see how I like them, but I'm excited for those. Okay, so the templates I sent out to those who are the members. If you're subscribed to my newsletter, I'll send them out this Sunday. Let's see here. I need to get my snow tires off too. Oh, really? I didn't realize. So the whole like changing tires for the winter was new to me. I mean, I grew up in the foothills of California, so it snowed there, but never enough to have to like change out your tires. So I was just floored that that was even a thing. But I'm glad it's not only here. Oh, super rainy today. Jean, I believe you could still do it, but I totally get being cautious. No one likes to waste their batter, right? Okay, so we've got our egg whites in here. I'm gonna whip, and that's gonna be the loud part if you wanna mute it during that. It's really annoying, but once I get to a foamy consistency, I'll add my sugar, then we'll add our colorant. I'm gonna color the whole thing white, so I have my white colorant in there, and then when I split my batter, I'll add some yellow into it, and I'll show you when I split my batter and everything as we're going. But yeah, so first sugar, let all that dissolve, then our colorant, and then we'll start whipping air really into it. And then we'll macaronage, and I've got 3 different piping bags set for our colors. The important thing when you're doing like character macarons, these are very elementary character macs. I am not a mac character artist. So I've got some bigger, this is 11 millimeter, a little bit bigger than your Wilton 12s, just because that's all I had. So this is going to be for my yellow, because I don't need too much of small detail for that. But then for my white, I'm gonna do my bunny's white and then the wings on the bee. So I have a smaller tip for my wings, just so I don't overcrowd the batter. And this is a 6 millimeter tip. And then I have another like 9 millimeter tip, which is your Wilton 12 for the other parts of the bunny that I'll be doing white. Okay, let's get started. Let me show you guys these templates real fast. I have my ovens preheating if you guys want to do that as well if you're baking along. So So here's my little bunnies, right? We'll do the faces afterwards, and I'll actually be moving those eyes lower so we can do like a sprinkle crown that we'll put on before our macarons dry after we pipe them. So we've got bunnies. The chicks that we're doing are just a circle. These are inspired by Faye Xing. Faye Xing. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but she is amazing with character designs, and you should check her out. I'll put her name. Let's see, Faye Xing. She's on Instagram, so I'm just gonna basically do a circle, and then with my, you could use a toothpick or a scribe, and then we're gonna make little like hair things coming off, and then bring some feet down, or wings, I mean. So we'll see that in a second, but basically all you need is a circle template for the chicks. And this is my very elementary bee. So we're just gonna be making like a little oval, and then these are gonna be the white wings. So it'll be a yellow oval, white wings, and afterwards we'll take some edible markers and we will be coloring some black. If you wanted to, you could split your batter more and do black macaron batter. But for me, Amy, I see you just got tickets for this. I will send you the email after. You're so sweet. So if you wanted, you could do black and yellow and just wait for each section to dry. But I find it easier to just use your edible markers afterwards if you wanted to be a little bit faster. All right, so those are the templates. Let's see, I saw someone ask, what temp should we preheat? Oh, Ursula, preheat 300 Fahrenheit. Everyone's oven is different, but the goal is to keep your internal oven temperature around 300 degrees. That's where I always start. And then depending on people's experiences, you sometimes need to go up a little bit or down a little bit. But once my tray goes in, I go down to 275, or else my internal oven temperature skyrockets to like 375. It goes up a lot. Okay, I'm gonna start. If you guys want to mute me, I won't be offended. Egg whites. Of course, Ursula. Oh, wow. Amy, you have a busy week. Okay, let me bring you guys close. Sugar and egg white powder. Mix it together. I'm foamy. So I'm gonna add my sugar in. Sorry. Nice and foamy. You can do this in a few additions, which is preferred, but for lives, I like to just put it all in so we don't have to keep stopping and starting. I'm on a 3 right now, so 2 is usually a little bit too low for my machine to really get things moving. So I'm in between a 2 and a 4. Once this sugar is all dissolved, yeah, Ursula, you can use cream of tartar, 1/4 teaspoon would be good. Ooh, Amy's doing the pâte de fouille filling. Woo! Hi, Brian. Nice to see you. I am not using the drop whisk method, Amy. Great question. Because I have a large enough batch. I'm doing the whole 100 grams in here. So with this, it's only a 5-quart mixing bowl. It mixes really well. But if you guys have a larger mixing bowl, like a 6-quart or higher, then I recommend the drop whisk if you have a KitchenAid. Just to showcase what that is, it's when you don't lock your whisk in. You just kind of put it there and let your whole head of the mixer go down so your whisk is touching lower. But I have a large enough batch today. I'm gonna add my colorant since I stopped my mixer. This is the Sugar Art Master Elite. Just white. You don't have to add white colorant if you don't want to. It's just titanium dioxide. But this is what I use. I'm gonna mix that in and then we'll add our second color later. I'm gonna turn it up to a 4. Let's see here. Okay. Trying to give you guys a good look in the bowl. Once you know all these granulars of sugar, that's just a weird word, are dissolved, then you can turn it up higher and start to really develop air. But you want that sugar dissolved, because if you have granulars of sugar and then you start whipping air, they won't ever dissolve really in there, and you could have issues with hollows because the sugar melts if it's still solid while you're baking, and it causes the holes. So I am good. I'm gonna turn mine up to a 5. Ruby, that's a good question. You know what? I don't see why it would not work for Swiss method. I would definitely think it would still be successful with a different method. If you haven't already, you can sift your dries. So I have my confectioner sugar and my confectioner sugar and my almond flour mixed together in here. And I sifted and I mixed them together fully. If you're in a super cold environment, you can always torch your bowl a little bit to make it so your egg whites soften up or heat up a tiny, tiny bit. We're not doing like the Swiss method. We're just trying to get our eggs to room temperature. And that's gonna make them whip up faster. But if you do it, make sure you don't have anything flammable around. See if I might not have any gas left. All right, I'll put it in. Torch it, yes. Woo. if you need to refill, get these butane fuel. Ooh. And then there's this little hole right here, at least in this model. And then you just press it. I'm putting pressure down. This always scares me. Okay, let's see if it works. See, now it's working. My dog is interested too. So I think mine's broken, but this should go up to tell you how much gas you put in, or fuel. I don't know what it is. And then you will know better. Just like torch a little bit. You don't want it to get too hot, or else you'll start to like scramble your eggs. So just be careful. Ooh, a hair dryer. That's a great idea, Amy. Okay, I've got some volume in my egg white, so I'm gonna turn up. So I'm gonna turn it up to an 8 to start really whipping more air into it and getting volume. Spicy do. All right, so that's how you fill up your canister thing. All right. Oh, hello. Sorry, I didn't see Celia. Celia? Why can't I say your name now? I didn't see you enter at the beginning, but I saw you later when you said torch it. Celia. This is my typical saying your name 700 times. Perfect. I second guess everything, y'all. I prefer reading, and then when I actually have to say it out loud, it's like, ah. Okay. So we're getting some structure. Basically, the whole thing is to slowly develop that structure. And then once we're at a stiff peak, we'll add in our dries and then separate and add more color to another half of it. So another reason why you might want to torch it or warm it up a tiny bit is because colder eggs take a lot longer to whip. So that's why this kind of supposedly speeds up the process. Colder eggs also whip more dense, become more dense like. Which isn't a problem, but that's why people recommend having room temperature eggs. We're almost there. The hardest part. Someone was recently asking me if anything changed from my baking from like Portland to here, and it surprised them to know like I'm not at a high altitude. I'm sea level. Anchorage is not up a mountain. But the thing that did change is, I think because of the cold weather, that it just takes so long to whip my eggs here. I didn't age my egg whites, Jean. I cracked my egg whites this morning. Great question. So it's starting to clump up at the whisk, and that's when I know it's almost getting done. And you can see the striations kind of stay put where the whisk has left it. We'll check it in 1 second. And what I'm looking for is when I stop it, I want the meringue to kind of stay put around my whisk. Oh, that's a good indicator that we're at a good point. It stayed put around my whisk. So let me put you guys down here. So that's nice and stiff. It's holding shape, right? Let's look in the bowl though. I find during my macaron classes, this is the most important thing, is to kind of see if you were to go around in your whole bowl, how it's looking, right? It's sticking straight up. It's holding shape inside. Obviously, the whole fun thing is if you tip it upside down, is it gonna come out? You know, that's on most of the videos of people showing you macarons, and I love that. It's so fun. But nice and stiff. But you notice, like, it's still nice and shiny too. It's not dried out. It has some good, like, almost elasticity looking to that shine. You want that. Once it starts looking dried out, you've over whipped, and you could have more issues than if you actually under whip. So both can cause a lot of issues, but over whipping is definitely a crime. Can cause you those soft, fragile, splotchy tops. Okay. So this is the batter, and I'm gonna get this KitchenAid out of the way, and we're gonna add in our dries and start that process. If you have watched my channel before, you know I like to switch to a different size bowl. I'm actually gonna put this stuff into a smaller bowl for now and mix in the big bowl. But I like to have a nice wide bowl for the reason of visibility. I want to be able to see everything going on in my bowl. It's a control issue for sure. But you can definitely macaronage in your bowl if you feel more comfortable. That is totally fine. It's just how I learned and how I feel the most comfortable. I've done some, macaronaging in the bowl, like do a couple of turns with your dries with the paddle attachment, and then switching to a bowl and macaronaging more by hand. But it doesn't, I don't do enough batches at this point without selling my macarons to make it worth it to lose that comfort to me. But if you're doing tons of batches and you have maybe some wrist issues, I can see it being worth it to try. But for now, I do my hands, all by hand. So here's my almond flour and confectioner sugar. I'm gonna do it in 2 to 3 additions, depending on how quickly. You have that one, Brian? Is that the big bowl you got? How long can it take to go for perfect meringue to over whip? Mary, that's a great question. It's so hard because I've seen people write about them doing their meringue for like 25-30 minutes, and if I ever do that, if I take that long to whip, my meringue starts to break down and it's not sturdy. So I feel like it's different for everyone, but we can look back and see how long this took. For me, I feel like it's 7 to 10 minutes for a good meringue. is fine, but I know tons of people that would say differently and that they whip for longer. So it really depends on how high you're whipping, for how long, to know like when you've over whipped. Now, I have Kirkland flour here, which many of you know I don't love, so hopefully we won't have an issue. But the price was right. At Costco, the Kirkland almond flour was $11. It was the lowest I've ever seen it, so I had to get it. So we'll see. I need to get yeah, Amy, it can be really helpful. And if you just paddle in the dries, you kind of get it to this point, right, where you're just, and then you have a lot of control still at the end. I just find it so annoying to then have to get into my bowl and like get all the dries that are on the bottom. But it's really to each their own, right? So right now I am simply putting in my dries. I'm just kind of patting it in. We worked so hard to whip all that air into our meringue that we don't want to completely deflate it yet, right? We want to have our dries in and still have a lot of time, because I need to still add another color. So I'm just doing this super carefully and kind of going around and around and trying to keep the air in, but also incorporate those dries. Clean off your spatula every once in a while and get those all incorporated. My almond flour feels very odd, but I'm hoping it's okay. I usually prefer Blue Diamond. It just feels like it absorbed a lot quicker. Okay. So here we're at a really thick batter, right? It's like still kind of sticking like a stiff meringue almost. But yet we've had all of our dries incorporated. You don't see any flour left over. So now that's where I split my batter. I'm gonna go with these two bowls because they're more similar in size. I'm gonna need a little more yellow to do chicks and bees than my white. So I'm not gonna do it completely half, but I'll do this much white and the rest will be my yellow. So that will be yellow. I'm just gonna finish off my white now. So I don't need to add any more to this. So I'm just gonna finish the macaronage process in this bowl for this amount. So this isn't gonna make a ton of bunnies or wings, but it's gonna showcase, you know, what we can do with character macarons to make some fun springtime stuff. Okay, Amy swears by Kirkland, love it. Every flour has been too oily. Yeah, I don't think I have Aldi's here, but I'm worried now because I believe someone told me Aldi's was great and I put it into my workbook, my ebook. So I'll have to get more people's opinions on that and take it off. Because I trust you, Amy. You've worked your butt off for these macarons. My toddler cracked one of my eggs I had left to come to room temp. My last cold egg. Oh, Ursula, you should be fine. Dang toddlers, though. I bet that made a mess on the ground. Okay. Does aged make flour more oily? So if your flour is super old, it can definitely cause issues. I find it's so interesting to me. So this is good. We're flowy. I'm happy with this. Let me put these in. I don't need as much with the small tip, so let me find that small tip. This is the bigger one. With the small tip, I'll be doing the bee wings and the ears for the bunny. So let's do that much. Then the rest I will put into my bunny body, my bunny head, I should say. So I feel like aged almond flour can cause issues. I'm not sure what it is exactly, because I find aged almond flour to feel more dry than oily, but yet I've heard it's oily. So I just get so confused about what is happening with my almond flour. But if you have older almond flour, you could always test it out, and being super careful, like dry it out in your oven before you use it, if that makes sense. So I've got my batter. You just want to make sure that nothing is drying out, right? So seal it up. You can even like close the tip off. Just make sure nothing's getting to the batter, no air. And oh, I put it in here, good. I was like, I forgot to put it in the other one. I might have not done the best divvying up of this, but we'll see. So we've got our two white batters here for different parts of our characters. So that's why I have two different sizes for my tips. And now this, we're going to put yellow in. When you're doing more colors, you can do powdered colors. It's just a little bit harder to incorporate. Or you could do gel colors. And this is Chef Master Lemon Yellow. I love my sugar art, so I'm going to be using this. But it can be easier to incorporate those gel colors. It really depends on your comfort level. So I'm going to add this much. It's probably, here, let's see. I think I have 1/8 of a teaspoon. I can see. 1/4 of a teaspoon. I got these cute things from Sasha from Chicago Cakes. This is 1/8 of a teaspoon, and it's not even in that. It doesn't even fill that one. So this is not that much colorant that I'm using. So it's probably like 1/16, if that. And then I'm gonna be super careful putting it in. So, because the dries usually need moisture to really activate, you just want it to get wet in your batter and then sort of disperse it. So I'm just gonna tumble it over and over until the yellow is fully incorporated. Okay, Ursula, does using sliced almonds affect the end result? So, Yasser, are you talking about pulverizing sliced almonds to make your almond flour? Or do you mean like to decorate the top? Amy asked basically the same question. I watched it happen in slow motion. I'm sorry, Ursula. Okay, so see how we're still thick, right? We still there's batter is not flowing. We still have lots of time to really incorporate the color and then macaronage intentionally by pushing it down. Hey, Nick, I'm happy you're baking. So you just want to make sure you're getting the color under too. So go all the way from underneath. This bowl is obviously too big at this point since I split my batter, but I'm just working in this little part of it to make sure it's not being spread too thin, and then I'm losing it. Okay, so again, you can use gel colorants if you prefer. I love powder colors because I don't taste them because I use such a little amount. Let's see, you're using Kirkland brand, okay. Well, that was, I think, do you have any tips for piping accurately? Mary, when I'm piping, I'll try to think about that. Some extra tips. I feel like it really depends on the flow. So you have to get that consistency to feel comfortable with the piping, right? Because the flow sometimes is faster, and then you pipe what you used to, and then it just like spreads too much. So going slow is my best advice, and seeing how your first piped macaron spreads, and kind of anticipate from there what to do. Okay, I'm gonna macaronage, so I'm gonna push out the air now more intentionally. And then we'll get going. Do you know if Max will split if I splatter Chef Master dye on the top? You just be super careful with it, Nick. It should be okay. It shouldn't crack if you do very light amount. Because lots of people will paint the outsides of their piping bag as well, which is sort of similar. And sometimes they'll crack if it's too liquidy on top. So I just recommend being super light with it. Or afterwards, once they're baked, you could even then go with Chef Master, dilute it with some vanilla extract, and then do like a very light splatter as well after they're baked. He dumped a dozen eggs. Oh my gosh, Amy. Okay, we're getting there. Let me do a tumble and kind of check my batter flow. See, with the Kirkland brand, I find it a little bit more gritty. I throw away a lot more excess in my sieve, in my when I'm sifting, than Blue Diamond, but it's okay. This looks good to me. It's flowing. The color is dispersed nicely. And we are good to go. I always tend it to undermix, if anything, especially with character shapes. I should call them shapes because they're not character. Especially with shaped macarons, because you don't want them spreading excessively when you're trying to hold a shape, right? So if anything, the whole work of like evening them out with a scribe. Oh, Naomi's here. Thank you. Evening them out with a scribe. That hassle is worth it sometimes, as opposed to having it spread so thin that you don't hold shape. Noemi, is that? Is that Noemi? Yeah, because it looks like your picture. I was just reading your name. Same issue with Kirkland, very gritty. Yeah, Jackie, what about flavor? What brand? Flavor of, let's see, Jackie, are you talking about flavor of the colorant? Yes, definitely, because your name is spelled differently here. I was just like, oh, I think it looks like your picture. Croissant student. Okay, so I'm cleaned up a bit. Let's pipe. Yeah, Kirkland brand, I feel like it's grittier, but it might not mean it's not coming out well. It's just the end result is just a tiny bit less smooth, right? Okay, so we got our yellow. I might have gone too big with the yellow and too sparingly with the white. We got this. I use Trader Joe's. Celia, yes, Trader Joe's. I mean, it's not the most cost effective, but it tastes so good. It's the best tasting almond flour I've used, in my opinion, because it has a really good almond taste and it just always seems so fresh. Anyone else? But we don't have Trader Joe's here. Okay. Let's start with chicks. Amy, I usually do the croissant class. You know, I'm not going to use a template because I'm just going to use these circles. I do a croissant class like once a year because it's so much time commitment for me and for the bakers. I feel like it is hard to get people to have the time. So we'll see. But I mean, it's such a fun class, so I hope I can do another one. Okay, Trader Joe's 2 miles. Amy, stop. Stop it. Okay. Sorry, flavorful for the macaron. Okay, Jackie, let me get to you in a second. Yeah, Kirkland has such a good price. Here's my yellow. For now, I'm just going to pipe. So, to answer the question about how to get even, I think it really is just about practice. To be honest, if you're counting and it's not helping, it might be that your batter is just too runny and hard to control. But I honestly eyeball it, and I will get different sizes, but they're not so extreme that they can't be matched up. You know, like they're not perfect, but if the templates that I prefer the most are the ones with 3 different lines that you can meet up that have the dotted line right there. So it's a little more precise. Do you mound up the batter when you pipe or press the tip down a bit? I don't move my tip at all. So I keep my tip steady, about 1/4 of an inch off the mat, and it just kind of mounds and spreads out. And then I stop the pressure. So push, push, push. And then when it's at the spot I want, stop pressure and do a little flick to cut the batter off. Push, 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 stop. So I'm not moving my tip at all. There's no of this, no motion with the tip. It's simply my hand squeezing and my wrist cutting the batter. Okay, I'm gonna need some batter for my bees. So let's see here. For the chick, I'm just going to pull on half of them. So they'll pair up better if you don't do this on all of them, right? Just for the front, kind of pull up so it has a little bit of hair. 1, 2, 3. And yes, it will make it so your feet don't develop as nice right there. Okay, so that's a little tip of the head, and then we'll bring down some flaps on the sides. And then we'll make the face afterwards. So it's just like super playful, very easy way of making a little chick, right? So just do that on half of them. So pull up a couple, you could even just do 2. And this design is from Faye. I love it because it just makes, I'm like trying not to block you guys, so it looks a little awkward, but it's just an easy way of making a fun little extra design, like extra special macaron without having to pipe it differently. And you definitely want to get in there and do it before it's dried, or else you'll have a lot of markings through it. So 1, 2, 3 on this little hair, and then about halfway down, a little bit more than halfway, pull out the little legs or the wings. The legs will draw on later. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll do 6, and then I'll it looks so fun. I think it's fun. Okay, so after we do this, let's do our bees. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. There we go. That's it for our chicks. Now, I gave a big bee template and a little bee template. The big one was the first time I made it, and then I printed it out, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is way too big. So I think the little bees are gonna look less juvenile. The big bees are going to be perfect for your kids to decorate if you wanted to do this as like an activity, just because there's more space. But the big ones will definitely look, oops, this isn't it. The big ones are like two inches and way bigger. So they would definitely be easier template to like draw on afterwards. And these are gonna be a little more cutesy bees. I'm excited to see how they turn out too. Okay, would these little peaks break off too easily? They could, Lisa. We'll see if they peek off. If they break off. Okay, so I'm putting my bee template underneath. That's why you don't want to make the little things too long, or else it could be a source, like a weak spot. So we'll see. That's a great point. Okay, so this is when having white templates is really nice. So with our bee, I'm just filling in my template, and I'm gonna take a scribe and kind of help it, but I make sure that I don't go all the way to the edge of my template. I go like a tiny bit before it and make it fill in, and then I'll bring it up. Does that make sense? So I'm not going and circling around the edge. I'm going in the middle more and letting the batter flow to fill in the template. For these bees, they are not symmetrical, so you're gonna wanna do some with wings and some without wings. I had the wings, I angled them a tiny bit to give it more of like a motion feel. So you can either flip your template over and use the inverse, or just don't make wings for the back of the macaron, if that makes sense. If you have any questions, let me know about that. So I'm just filling in to make it even more precise to the edges of my template. If you flip this template and do it this way, it's a perfect little mini egg without the wings. So these are like a good egg template too if you don't use the wings. Okay. You make it look so easy. Amy, I feel like eggs used to be so hard for me, so practicing the oval shape of an egg was what really helped me do these better. Now, I've done these little bees before a long time ago, and my daughter helped. She made a few, like colored them with the black, and she just had a blast. That and the bunnies, they're just they're really a fun, if you celebrate Easter, a fun Easter project or just a spring project. Okay, so for now, let's see, I think I have enough to keep going. I'm just gonna add some white. I'm gonna get my smaller tip white, and we're going to make the wings. So I'm just doing like 2 little lines, and I'm only gonna do the wings on half because I don't want to have to pair up the wings together, right? This makes it a lot easier. And it's kind of like making a little heart on top. Hopefully I'm not covering it. Let me see. Again, I am not going to the edge of it. I am going right into the middle and kind of filling it up and back without moving my tip too much. You want to make sure you match the thickness of your yellow with your white. So make sure you're giving enough juice, enough batter into these. Especially when I'm switching to a smaller tip, I can see I'm making it a little too thin. So I'm gonna add a little bit more so it's a high enough so they'll bake the same, or else your white is gonna burn. By the time your yellow is done, you're gonna have a lot of browning on your white. So make sure that they're the same thickness. And because you're not pairing these up, can you guys see that? I feel like I keep covering it. Okay. Because you're not pairing them up with wings, it doesn't have to be perfect. But this is how they look. And then once we add in the black in their faces, you'll be able to see it better. It'll be more evident what's going on. It's hard with all of the different lines on my pad to see where they are, but there. So these are gonna be all of the fronts, and then I'll do some backs. But aren't those cute? Little bumblebees. I promise you, it'll make more sense once they have their faces on. Okay. And then we'll get into the bunnies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need to do 7 more in yellow. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, if you guys wanted to, you could even bring the front back a little bit and make a little stinger and color it black once it's baked. We'll try one, because that was a good point from Lisa. So I pulled it back kind of like our little chicks, and we'll see if they break off or if they're good. I'm hoping they're small enough where they don't even like make contact with the mat, but we'll see. I'm simply taking my scribe and just having the oval fill the entire template underneath here. So that's what I'm doing right now, so that they match up nicely. Because my piping isn't perfect, so I don't hit all of the outline. So that's why I go back. Got a bubble here. And if you've noticed, I haven't really tapped my tray. That's okay, you don't have to. Okay, all right. These are our bees, and I am going to preheat this oven here. I think you can see it. Oh, I'm too far down. I'm gonna preheat my little toaster oven to 300, and then I'll bake those. Oh wait, I think I do turbo bake on this guy. Turbo bake, 300, start. Okay. Now for our bunnies. This is long, sorry guys. Okay, so here's our bunny template. To be honest, this circle is really big. I made it 1 3/4 inch diameter because I thought I usually make 2-inch ones, but it looks really big. So I usually aim for a little bit less so it doesn't overfill this circle because then it's a really big head. So just be careful with that. Okay, so our white, I'm using a larger circle so I don't have to push out all my batter through a thin one for the bigger details. So I'm just going to start in the middle of my template and let it fill out. Let me get you guys a really good view here of my piping, so because we had questions and that was a good question. Maybe you can see the template a little bit better underneath here. So here's my template. This is the middle, and I'm going to hold my tip steady and just let it fill out the circle. And again, for these bunnies, you can do the ears for both back and front, or you can just do it for the front. It's up to you. I like it both ways. I can't decide. And sorry, that was loud. It really is just your own preference. Okay, so now for the ears, I'm gonna take my smaller tip and do those details. I am pounding this out so it fills up my template a little bit better. And then I'm just gonna go so I start again, not like right on here just because I don't want it to double, like have too much batter right there. So I start in the center a little bit, like 3/4 of the way down, and bring it down and then go up to the tip. I don't like the ears too long because these ears will brown. Let me find my scribe. The ears brown. Here it is. Right? So sometimes these even meld together, these two things, and that's fine with me. I don't mind that. Just make sure they're connected well. And if they come together, it almost makes it cook better. So if your batter spreads and it kind of has a base that slowly goes into ears, I love that too. So don't be too hard on yourself, however it forms, but just make sure that they are connected. The head and the ears, so that when you pull them off, it's not a weak point and they break. Okay. And then we're gonna do a sprinkle crown on the fronts. So if you are super particular, you could get one of the like food, what are these, tweezers? Yeah, and place them all carefully. But most of the time I just put them, lay them down and go from there. But you wanna make sure these are still wet at the time. And I'm in such a dry environment that sometimes I have to do it quick before I even get all the bunny ears on. So these are all gonna be my fronts. And I'm just gonna make these little crowns because they look really cute once you put the faces on. And then you don't have to do any special decoration afterwards, which is really nice. Let's get a blue on there. Okay, bunny crown. I want one more up there. Perfect. And then I'll do the rest of my ears. My batter isn't spreading as much as the last time I made these, so I'm not even going to the top. I'm not going to the top of my template because that's just a really long ear. If I made the circles as big as my template, then the ears would fit a little bit better. It really is all about what's that called? Not comparison. What's it called? Well, some of mine split. Nick, do you mean, when you say split, do you mean that they cracked? It's all about ratios, is what I was trying to say. So if you do a tiny bit smaller of a head, you're not gonna want as long of ears. And if you don't do the back ears, then you don't have to worry about it because you're not trying to match up the ears, right? So just make sure that they connect, and then we'll be able to go forward. I got one confetti here. I'm gonna try to take out so it doesn't make a weak spot. There we go. Because I heard my oven, I am going to go put my bees in, and then we'll finish. I'm gonna put them in for 12 minutes and I'll check them. 12 minutes on the clock. And then again, this is this oven back here. This one, that's what I'm baking my bees in. And then I can probably put my other ones in. The chicks are dry, so I'm gonna put those in my electric oven over here. This guy. Sorry, you're a little too low, but 300 Fahrenheit. I'm gonna drop it down to 275, and then my timer, I'm gonna do 8 and 8 to start with. Okay, now our bunnies. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fronts, and now I just need to do 7 backs. And these are the weak spots here in between these, so that's why you want to use your scribe to kind of join them together to make sure they are one. Right? Okay. And then we'll draw little faces on them once they bake. But there's our bunnies. So, let me get my template out. And I will just do some more circles. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll do all 3 of those. Sorry, just talking to myself, making sure I have enough space. My big tip might not have enough white in this bag. Whoa, that's gonna be good. Okay, we'll see how that lays out, and then I'll add some. So 3, 2, and 2 more. One, and the good thing about macarons is that they're really forgiving when you pipe if they're not overmixed, and you can, even if you mess up piping, you can usually fix it really well. No one will even know. Okay, so we got our fronts and our backs like that, and I'm gonna add a little 1 sprinkle on each of these backs for a little cottontail. I'm gonna let these dry. I've not been loving the texture of my air bake tray in this oven, so I've been using the regular rest method. I think going down a little bit, well, maybe that'll be the bottom. Going like 3/4 of the way down looks a little bit better than right in the middle for the bunny tail. And again, when you're adding sprinkles to your resting macarons, you just want to make sure the batter is still wet so they stick and it's like an adhesive, right? There we go. 1 more. Let's do a pale yellow. Oop, we got 2 on there. I'm going pink. No, do green. I like the lime. Sorry guys. Okay, I'm almost done with this narrative here. There we go. And then, let me get this guy off. All right. So we've got our bunnies with our bunny tails, and we'll let these dry, and that oven is occupied anyway, so I don't have any place to bake them yet. Okay, so we've got our bees in. Let me show you guys how they're looking. Let me see if I can get you lower. This is the joy of having you on a tripod. Let's see. There we go. Very crooked. Come on. There we go. So they're developing their little feetsies. I'm so excited for this. I just find them so cute. And I think a good filling I'm gonna do for those is like a lavender honey or some type of honey. Honey can be so sweet with macaron shells, so that's why I like to pair it with lavender, because that's usually a very milding flavor. And it's not my favorite. Like, I don't like soapy flavors, but just enough lavender, soaking your cream in that, it just is amazing. Okay, how are we doing? Steffi, the bunnies are so cute though. Nick, I'm sorry that yours are cracking. So with the gel paste, Nick sprinkled some on. So maybe needing to wait a little bit longer after you sprinkle that color on to have it dry, Nick, before baking might help. Honey and tea. Oh, yes, please. Celia, that sounds like the winning. I want to do a tea. Tea what now? So my daughter's having a high tea birthday party in a couple weeks. So I'll be making, she has a list of what she wants me to make. She did not spell anything correctly, but she wants me to make donuts, almond croissants, boba macarons, like boba shaped macarons. What else? Oh, fruit tarts. She has this whole list of things that she wants at her tea party. And I might just do it all just because it's so fun to produce and pretend like I work outside the home still. Earl Grey and vanilla. Oh, with lemon curd. Amy, that sounds so good too. You guys are making me excited for our tea party. I'll definitely have some more kid-friendly flavors, but a quarter cup cooled, 1 tea bag. Quadruple strength. I'm gonna try this. I love it. Sorry, I'm just reading the comments. I'm still so bummed, Nick. I'm sorry that yours got cracked. Did all of them crack now that they're finishing baking? I have some extra. I'm gonna see how these puppies, I see some feet on our chicks, and I want to see how the parts where we pulled the batter, I want to see how those look, because I have a little bit more yellow. Perfect timing. I have more yellow, so I can make more if they don't turn out like Lisa said. That was such a good observation. Okay, I get to try my mittens. Okay, time, worst sound ever. We'll do 8 more minutes, and then I'm going to flip my tray and we'll see how these guys are going. Okay. A little bit awkward back there. So the feet didn't develop like at all on the top. Let's see where we're at. We're at 300, so that's good, but I'll make some more chicks. I lost 3 or 4. I already set the timer. Okay, let's do some more chicks without the feet, because I made it so the feet don't come out nicely. Let me see. Okay, my macaron feet lately have been spreading from the tops. Steffi, do you mean like when you pipe your macarons, or like once you're, let me see, once you bake your macarons, does your top come off and separate from your entire bottom with like the feet and the bottom of your shell, and then your top comes off? Okay. My macaron feet. 3 or 4 isn't too bad, Nick. Okay. So when they're baking, interesting. You'll have to send me a picture on Instagram. Have you been using older eggs or anything like that? Oh, I don't have as much yellow as I thought. Just gonna do a few circles. A few chicks without the heads, since I might have messed them up. You need to calm down. Uh-oh, I didn't check this. That's the bad thing about the toaster, is once it goes off, once the toaster oven goes off, the whole oven turns off. So if they're not done, I'm like losing. So let me go back to Turbo Bake, 275 start, just so it's on. Yeah, they're not quite done yet, but I will flip it and reverse it. I don't usually flip my tray, but because it's white and the white is facing the hotter part of the oven, I'm going to, just so they don't brown as much. Those are cute. I think even the back ones are done. So let me just do like 30 seconds and then I'll take these guys out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tell me that you love me. Okay, yellow's done. Bunnies are done. We'll take this out. I like these. I think I might be a fan. The problem though is I can't easily touch. Okay. So these are our little bees, and then we'll decorate them soon. Look at the little butt. I like how it turned out for these ones. This oven is just so forgiving. These gloves are from Lannon Gloves. They just sent them to me to try out. So yeah, I'm gonna be having, I think, a giveaway for Easter, and I might be giving a pair away for maybe 2 people. I forget what they had said, so just stay tuned too. But Lannon Gloves, Lanon. They came in this little thing. Do they fit like to the, is the H something that I don't know, or is that just an extra button? Amy, do they fit your hands? Okay, I did the smallest size and they're still a little bit too big. 'Cause I'm 4'11" and I have pretty small hands, but they're not like excessive, but they have different sizes. But look, like they're that much bigger than, yeah. So they're a little big, but I still feel like I have a lot of control over it, which is what I was worried about. I thought it was gonna be harder to, you're 4'11" too? We're twins. We are the same height. That is neat. I love that. I love that. We should all get together because I love tall people too. No judgments, but it's just fun not feeling extremely short with other people. Yeah, Amy's a Virgo too. This could be the kicker. If all 3. Your husband, see, that's what I said. I said I would never marry someone short just so I could give my kids a chance. But I fell in love with, he's average height. You guys, that was my goal, was a higher. But I mean, I think I scored big time on my husband, so I think we probably are good. Oh, 6'3". See, look at that. Us small girls that's trying to get all the tall guys. And only, at least for me, like only the small guys wanted to like date me when I was younger. 5'2", Amy, is spectacular. I feel like I've always wanted those couple more inches. 5'2", 5'4". 5'11". You did it right. You did it right. Okay, everyone's probably like, what are they talking about? Okay, let me check our chicks. See, I'm afraid my son is gonna be, well, it's fine. Short boys are great too. Tom Cruise is short and he's had a very successful life. Okay, the chicks aren't bad. When the feet are still pretty, because you know how your feet rise in the oven and then they kind of settle back down? They looked really lopsided with the pooling of the hairs when the feet were up, but they've settled and it looks better. But still, they're not perfect. So we've got some, I'm just gonna make sure I use all my batter. Just gonna pipe a couple extra white ones. Like I have a little bit of white batter left, so I'm just gonna pipe circles so they're not wasted. So we've done 8 and 8. Okay, all the batter's used up. I apologize for the sound. Let me check these macarons. I'm gonna do 1 more minute, so that'll be 16, 17 minutes altogether, right? Because I did 8 and 8. Okay, and then these will go in later after our bunnies. For time's sake, we might not get to color the bunnies' faces just because I'm taking up a ton of your time right now. We're already almost at an hour and a half. But we can at least do the bees because they've pretty much cooled. And I think they're so cute. Look at that little stinger. I wish I had done the stinger on more of them. So this is the little stinger. We'll color it black. Per hubby, you found your drive. I love it. He knows. He knows. I just love that. I wonder if like short people tend to go into baking or if it's just, we're just cool like that. Either way, I'm 5'1". Claudia's there too. Bees are adorable. Thank you, Margaret. Let me get these chicks out too. Little stinger. Yeah, a little stinker butt. Stinger butt, but I said stinker. Okay, I forgot. Stop yelling at me. When I put a second tray in my oven, I don't turn my oven back up to 300. I keep it at the 275. So this is too hard to really show you right now, but I'll show you once they cool, the little chicks. And let me bring you guys back down so you can see decorating. So for those who had signed up and got the email, I had said to have some edible markers ready to go. I have these Chef Master ones that have a tip, a finer tip, and a thicker tip. I've kind of utilized the crud out of it, sorry. But, so basically, we're just going to be coloring lines and do sections of our bee, and then we'll color our little stinger and then make a face. So first let's start with the little stinker. Stinger, and just black it out. Just for fun. Okay, so now it's like, ooh, you can tell. That's a little stinger. Woohoo! See, look at us. 5'1". Oh, bye, Amy. I didn't see. Have to go to a meeting. Yes, the live will be posted. Have a good one, Amy. Thanks for joining. Let's see here. I like to look at something just so I know. So I'm gonna do 2 black stripes. I did the little stinger, and then we'll do a little face. I tried both, and I like when you see both, even though it doesn't really make sense with the orientation of how the bee is. I still like it with 2 little eyes. So I'm gonna do black for the eyes and the stripes. I'm gonna start the stripes first, to be honest. Let's go. Let me see. I want you guys to be able to see. Can you see that? I think so. This is not my strong suit, decorating. And then I'll fill these guys in. This is when the bigger one would come in handy, but I think it's pretty wasted. Probably from the last time I made bees. Now the problem with this big of a black streak is that you have to watch out for mouths, right? It will definitely show up on your kids' mouths. But so will black macaron batter. So really whatever you want to do. All right, so there's our little bee and our stinger. I'm gonna make a little face right there with my fine tip, or the finer side of the tip. I'll do both little faces and see how it turns out. Little eyelashes. So we got a little eyes. And then we'll do a little smile. Let's do pink for the pink Chef Master. Did I set a timer? Oh, I don't have anything in that one. Okay. She's just chilling. Queen bee over here. I'll put a little bit of blush on, because why not? So I've got this Hollyhock Sterling Pearl that, so instead of a Master Elite, which is what I use in my macarons, shells when I bake, the Sterling Pearls are a fun, just like glittery finish. And I'm just gonna poke a little glitter cheek on there. Can't really see. You could also use any type of petal dust or something like that. You could spritz this whole thing with some diamond dust if you wanted. Then you, obviously you'd pair these guys up like that. And so this is how the back is. Like the wings are free, but you can't really tell. Like it doesn't look weird, right? I don't know if I love both the eyes there, but I thought I would. But I love them. Aren't they so cute? Bees. And just fill those with whatever you want. Let's do some glitter. Let's just see if it's too much. I'm gonna put some of the white diamond dust on just the wings. Oh, it didn't just happen on the wings. Oh, but I love it. Let's see if I can get it in the color. Isn't that fun? Woohoo! Okay, so those are our bees. Yes, I'm so excited about this. So you just do that over and over. You can do your faces however you want, but the lines, the black lines, are just the easiest little way to add a little pizzazz to them. And then the stinger was fun for sure. Glitter is good. Yay! I'm glad you like the glitter too, Margaret. So, yeah, so those are our bees. Again, super easy because you don't have to match them up. When the shape is weird like that, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? I gotta put my bunnies in, and then we'll do a chicks, and then we'll probably have to end because I don't want to hold you guys up anymore. But here are our bunnies. They are dry. I'm gonna put them in the oven. And put my timer on for 8 minutes. Always check your internal oven temperature after you have baked. Make sure it's again where you want it to be before you start a new tray. Okay, let's see if these crack. All right, they didn't. This one didn't, at least. So there's our little chick face. So these got weird. I don't love it. Because look at, you can kind of see it dome over, and there's the feet really struggle here. So I don't love that. But I mean, that's me being super, super picky. This one has the feet a little bit more, but it's definitely not as uniform. So you guys can decide what you like. 5, 2, 2.5. I love it. We're like a short kids club, except for the boys, or Nick, who's, I forget, 6'3" or something. 6'1", I don't know. Okay, so always make sure your macarons are dry before you peel them off, or cooled before you peel them off, right? And then we'll pair them up. I think they're still gonna, even though they're a little bit weird right there, like, it could definitely be a thing. Like, we did that on purpose, you know? Let's do its face, and it might look a little bit less weird. And then its little feet. We'll need some orange. I don't know if I put that on our list, but orange will help with the feet of the chick. We'll do some just dots for eyes. Like, which one do I like the best? Okay. Little dot eyes. There we go. Then a little beak, orange beak. Choo-choo. I always second guess which way the beak goes. Triangle down. And then some little feet. There. Then we got our little chick. I like it. I don't know if I would do these again just because it messed with the look of it. But they're pretty fun. Yay! Celia loves it. So we got our bee and our chicks, and our bunnies are cooking. But how easy is that? Like, you just do a circle. You don't even have to pull at the batter if you didn't want to. But I think it does kind of make it look nice. When it has the face on it, it makes it look better is what I'm trying to say. Like, it doesn't bother me as much, but it's like, it could be better. So it's whatever you guys want. And then you could also do royal icing decor instead of the markers or whatever. Yeah, they're so fun. And these are like easy shaped macarons, right? Like, they're not too, you don't have to manipulate the batter too much. So I feel like they're fun, easy ways that would, if you were selling your macarons, like, make your customers really excited for spring or whatever theme you were going for. Yeah, we still have a long time to bake those bunnies. So I think I might just take pictures. Ugh, I hate not having it complete though. If you, I have a full macaron bunny video. So if you want, you can watch that and just the end of it. I think I put it out a year ago. And then you can kind of see how I finish those off, because it's just gonna be too long to keep going and waiting for those to bake. I should have baked the bunnies. I should have timed it a little bit differently. I wasn't thinking ahead like that. But yeah, other than that, I mean, do you guys have questions on the macarons themselves or what we did today or anything? I love you guys. I just want to say that because I haven't done a live for so long. I've been dealing, so my husband got his wallet stolen out of his car yesterday early morning. So I've been on the phone with like banks and like disputing things. I put a police report in and they've been using our cards all over, and it's just been like a nightmare the last one day, and then today this morning I was on the phone with the banks. So like having this scheduled time was keeping me going. So thank you for being here, because it has been a rough day and a half. Never fun when people take your things. Thank you for being here. I really loved it. I was just reading, sorry, the comment. I know, it's such a bummer, but it should all be reimbursed and everything, but it's just such a headache. I know, Margaret. It's like, bleh. But this, honestly, I was so excited because I wouldn't be baking now. If it weren't for you guys, I would definitely have to be like going and I have to sign an affidavit at the bank and all these different things. So this was a joy. This is such a reprieve from what we've been doing. So thank you for being here. I hope it was as fun for you. Okay, I'm not gonna, that sounded really weird. But I hope it was as fun for you as it was for me. Should we check on our bunnies at least so you can kind of see them before we go? Let's see. Sorry, you can see my light. Where are those gloves at? We got 1 minute left, so I'll flip them. Thank you, Jean. It was the painting. I'm so happy with it. Here's our bunnies, and they still have a lot of time to bake though. So, but yeah, as soon as we started the project, I wish we had just not done this because it was so much work, but it turned out great and I'm so happy with it. It's amazing what some paint will do. Okay, I have this because I can't reach most of my things. As many of you guys probably know from your own experience. Okay, so again, I have a bunny edited video from last year, I believe. If you want to check out saying yes, stools are everything. And if you have like tongs, that's the way to do it too. Ready? Watch. These bad boys. Something's too high. Oreos. Boom. Like, tongs are the greatest gift ever for a short person. Okay, guys. If no one has questions, yes, your tong grabber. I love it. Stools, tongs, everything a short person could ever wish for. I think that's it. I will be emailing I guess I'll email the VIP members again to open up questions for you if you didn't feel comfortable asking them here, or if you want to send me your own pictures. That would be awesome if you guys baked along. I would love it. 5'8". Oh my gosh. We're jealous over here. We're jealous. Oh, I should speak for myself. Oh, I'm so glad, Ursula. Thank you for joining us. I love it. I hope it was an enjoyable experience for you and that you keep making macarons because they are addicting. Ask anyone in the group. Penny, shut your little mouth. Okay. I am going to end this chat and I will email again those who have signed up for the VIP. I'll just email you opening up more questions or pick time for you to send pictures if you wanted to, because I would love to see your work. I hope you guys have a good rest of your afternoon, evenings, whatever time it may be there. Thanks for sticking with me. This has been a really long live and I still didn't get to finish. So thank you. Thank you guys. Happy time. Happy spring. There we go. I know, Penny, you know, Nick. Thanks for being here, Liz. Thank you guys. Thank you, Mary. Just reading all of your things. Nubia, thank you guys. Honestly, joy. Much love, everybody. Happy baking.